Hello and welcome back to Out of Spec Testing, and welcome to, once again, a Hogback Challenge. For those who don't know, that's our regimented ADAS test into the mountains of I-70. This is the most complicated section of highway in the country that we're aware of. Major highway anyways, which we choose intentionally because many cars have these fancy lane centering systems. Their ADAS functionality is limited perhaps to pre-mapped highways. We've seen this with Super Cruise, some Ford systems, Lucid. Well, while those can do some things without pre-mapping, the full suite is limited to pre-mapping. So that's why we choose this section. It's roughly 1,500, 2,000 feet elevation change, like 45 curves over the course of maybe 30 miles, I think it is. The stats are lost on me, but all that to say, it's really complicated. We got construction zones, lane changes, lane shifts, traffic, sun glare in this case, because it's getting into the evening. So I'm excited to see just how well this thing does. Behind me is, well, basically a robo-taxi. Not exactly, but this is our good friend Mark's Tesla Model Y 2026, so newest possible version, hardware 4. So basically the same hardware, and actually same FSD roughly as my car, which we've recently tested on this test. It looked a little different then, but it was interesting. It was the first test we've had where we had zero intervention. We just sat there. Me and Andreas talked, had a good time. It's a fun video if you want to watch it, get our impressions, because FSD has just really gotten so impressive. And while I think it's impressive, it's still not quite to that unsupervised level. So today we're testing FSD supervised. So previously, and for years, it was FSD beta, but now that we have supervised, we're pretty much in full-fledged, you can almost say unsupervised, but not quite, but it's just so impressive now. It handles itself, it does everything, it navigates, it handles city streets, country roads, snow, rain, whatever you really throw at it. And sure, there's edge cases for everything. We'll talk about a lot of that in the drive because I don't think it's perfect. And any of you thinking I'm out here being this like FSD shill, I'm not. In fact, my license plate on my car is FSD-ish. Like, it's full self-driving-ish, but like we're not quite fully there yet. And I mentioned the robotaxi thing. I think it's interesting to do this test now because robotaxis now started, but also robotaxis use Model Ys. And I've had friends in the Tesla circle kind of say they've had different experiences with FSD based on different cars. They may all have FSD 13.9 or 13.2.9 is what we have today, and also hardware 4, but being different cars sometimes means slightly different dynamics. And even this route has changed a little bit with construction, so why not run it again and see if it does really do just as well as it did before. On this Model Y, not much to discuss. Hardware 4, like I said, really just means improved cameras and improved system on a chip inside powering it all. You do have this new front camera here, which my Model 3 did not have. I'm quite jealous because I'm often pulling up to a curb and I'm just like not quite sure right where the curb is, or I'm not sure if there's like some random thing in front of me that wasn't there when I parked. That's a really cool feature to have, but I don't think it's really fully interlaced into the system yet. We've seen robotaxi footage galore, and we've seen people have issues with robotaxis entering a really steep parking lot thinking maybe it was like a curb because it just couldn't quite tell how the embankment is shaped. I think a front camera would have easily seen that, so that makes me think it's not quite interwoven yet. But all that to say, I'm sure we'll be doing this test again sometime soon. Perhaps we'll try a Model X or S or even Cybertruck because we still need to try those in this test. And also, FSD does keep evolving. With all the changes and improvements now that the robo-taxis are running in Austin and maybe soon to be other markets, we'll see what changes come roll back into this. So lots to discuss on the drive. Let's go see how well it does. Really quick on the scoring, you guys can see this linked down below in the description, but we always score everything based on what the car has initially, and then we deduct points on the drive. So in terms of all these scoring, it's actually the exact same as my car, so you can also reference that video, but there's no capacitive wheel. Frankly, with FSD being hands-free, not really a need for that, so maybe we'll change that scoring eventually. Driver safety eye tracking, it does actually function through this camera right up here above the rearview mirror, which is not the most perfect place for it eye tracking. We'll talk about that in the drive. Hands-free is now a thing. Didn't used to be, but now it is, which is awesome. That came about in roughly November or December. It's not limited to pre-mapped highways, so we don't deduct points. Gauge cluster does show the cars around you, which is great, and you don't have to worry about pre-mapping limitations for lane centering, which notably Super Cruise, that's been a thing on Chevy's Super Cruise system, but not for long. Okay, adapt to speed limits. It does handle speed limits. It doesn't do a speed limit offset. Or let's see, check that box if it doesn't. I always get confused in this section. But it doesn't let you specify a speed limit offset. It just kind of does it based on driving chill mode, standard mode, hurry mode. We'll talk about that too. Adaptive system aggressiveness, it does have that, which is not tied to the driving mode. So you can have your various levels of acceleration not tied to that. Automatic lane changes it does it without user input, and it does return to the right lane, so no more dinging for that. I forget what car doesn't, but there have been cars that do automatic lane changes, but then don't go back right for some reason. Driver unresponsive test. We actually don't need to retest this because it's the exact same as what happened in my car. So you can go check out that video. I can put a little pin at the top of this to show you guys. But basically what happens, only a couple things. Hazard lights come on. The car does come to a complete stop. It does not let go of steering or anything, so it doesn't like throw you into the curb on a curve. But it doesn't do any sort of thing like pulling over to the shoulder, which actually people have argued whether that's safer or not. But yeah, that's all it does. No seatbelt yanking, pulsing of brakes, seat shaking, horn honking. It doesn't call emergency services. So nothing in that, but maybe they'll change it eventually. We'll see. And then we get to the drive section. I do have some residual notes from my car. I'm curious if we'll keep them or we'll change it. But as far as I know, speed up on turn signal overtake, that's the thing we've given points to across the board. So in terms of not playing favoritism, I'm just going to keep that there. And it does do end-to-end, which means I shouldn't have to touch the steering wheel this entire drive, which will be awesome. And it's had some issues with speed limit offsets. And then we were really impressive with the human driving, which is, or human driving character, I should say. So we'll see if any of these change. I'll of course tell Mark to add any sort of editor's input beyond that, whether it's me or him having special additional notes that are worthy of points or deducing points in case it's not safe or something like that. So that's it for the scoring. We're starting with a very high score, a very positive score, but that could go down if we have issues. So let's go find out. So before we jump off, let's show you the settings here really quick because there are a few things to note. Here's where you would say whether you just want basic cruise control or auto steer, which is funny that it says beta. We've had that forever, which is basically just your autopilot. So it keeps lane centering on. You can turn that on wherever, but it's not going to navigate and do everything. Then there's full self-driving supervised, which used to be full self-driving beta, now supervised. And you also have the option to start it from park. You can turn on or off the brake confirm, which is great. Then there's the profiles, which we may play with these a little bit on the drive because I think I do have some commentary on them. Curious to get your thoughts, Mark.
I do, yeah.
And we have chill, standard, or hurry. I'm going to start it off in standard because I think that's kind of a normal thing as what people will do. I'm going to do speed offset. I'm going to play with this. I'm going to do just 10% and see what that does because I've had issues, and many people have reported that it doesn't really listen to this all the time. It claims it'll contextually drive above the speed limit. If traffic's all doing 70 and a 55, it'll keep with traffic. But in theory, this offset is something that it'll keep as a rule. So if the speed limit's 55, it won't go more than 60. So we'll have to see if that's actually the case. The visualization's nice, so we'll have that on. And then there are, speed limit warnings, then the offset related to that. Your normal collision avoidance stuff, emergency lane, just a couple settings here. Nothing crazy. It's not like, I think it was maybe BMW or Mercedes that have a bazillion settings related to the ADAS.
I think it was BMW.
So this is nice and relatively simple, and it really is just kind of simple. So just for curiosity's sake, we're also just going to see what our efficiency is in this drive. I think that'd be kind of funny. Let's see. So let's just jump in and start FSD. we have it routing to the turnaround point. Let's see what happens. Yeah, usually we have to like navigate ourselves to the highway. This is such a relaxing hogback test. I will say in my car, or maybe it was Andreas's car, I forget who we tested, but when we did mine or Andreas's car, it had trouble getting out of the parking lot, which was kind of funny. And I think that's one of FSD's weaker points is parking lot behavior. Here it kind of just rolled out in front of wherever.
Well, nobody was coming.
Nobody was coming, and it actually did it totally fine. So, cool. It's improved, I guess.
I think parking lots are really challenging, though.
Yeah, I agree.
People do unexpected things.
Yeah. So I understand FSD's hesitancy in parking lots. FSD also includes auto park. I do wish auto park was a feature you could have without buying FSD, because there are a lot of people that do just prefer driving themselves, but auto park is just a nice feature. And unfortunately, that is completely tied in with FSD, but it's a really good auto park.
I've only gotten it to show up once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I don't know what the trick is.
Well, it doesn't really. The thing is, FSD 13.2.9 is the latest version, like we said. And ever since December 8th, I think it was, when that came out, it says coming soon, destination options. We have not yet had that, and it's been 7 or 8 months. So we still can't tell the car what to do at the end. It kind of turns into, I think, what some people like to call dog mode, where it's just like wandering around the parking lot. It might stop and pull into a parking space. It might pull up to the curb. Not sure.
I've seen that. It gets to the parking lot and then just sort of keeps going.
Yeah. Here's an interesting case where it could have gone right because there is no sign saying no right on red, but it waited. I mean, we're not into the test yet, so I'm not going to discuss points on that, I guess, because no other car can even stop at a stoplight. But that's kind of interesting. It doesn't always... I've seen issues with it not always knowing what to do at intersections. But here we go. So, I-70. We've done, I don't know, dozens of cars in this exact same test. But what's interesting is the conditions are always a little bit unique. While it is the same route, we are coming into, well, in this case, bright, blinding light. I can barely see. The car, I guess, can see, which is good. We also have construction, and so how is it going to navigate construction zones is another thing to consider.
Now that was nice. It got over for this semi plenty of time.
It saw the semi way up ahead and decided, let's get over. So what's your impression of the various speed profiles, I think they call them?
So I just took a road trip to Vegas and back by myself, and I used FSD probably 80% of the trip.
Okay.
And I used hurry almost the entire way, because if you're on standard, it'll pretty much just do the speed limit.
Yeah.
Right? If it's 75, it's going to go 75-ish.
Yeah.
Even on hurry, it won't maintain 85.
Right.
It'll bounce around between 82, 83.
Yep.
Rarely will it do 84 or 85.
Yep.
Which is, I think, a little weird. I think if you're on a wide open highway and you're on hurry, it should go 85.
Yeah.
And then chill is just way too chill.
Yeah. Yeah. Chill is like max efficiency mode, which I do actually default to that just because I'm so often curious what my efficiency is going to be just driving my car around. Just because having the most efficient car, I've been the last 1,300 miles in my car without, it's pretty much entirely FSD chill mode, which is always about the speed limit. It doesn't really go under very much, but it's like never even creeps over, which is usually too slow. Usually you're barely keeping up with traffic, if at all. But I have over 5 miles per kilowatt hour is the average over the last 1,300 miles, and that's with all sorts of hills, highway driving, like just not even looking at it, not hypermiling, nothing, running full AC. We're in the summer now, so it is a very efficient car. But yeah, my issue with the profiles, I think, is, well, first of all, I should note we're in standard. We were doing 72 in the 55 earlier, and that's completely ignoring the offset I thought I set. Unless I'm misunderstanding,
I'm misunderstanding
what offset means, I feel like it's not really paying attention. That aside, it's fun to test it in a 3-lane highway, because if I go into chill mode right now, it instantly will go to the right lane. Chill mode is obsessed with the right lane.
Yeah, it is.
If I do standard mode, which I'll pop back into now, standard mode is obsessed with the middle lane. If I go to hurry mode, it'll probably jump left. Unless it's improved, we'll see. But I stopped,
no, it loves that left lane.
I stopped using hurry mode months ago. I still will sometimes, just because I'm always testing. But hurry mode will often jump into the left lane and then sometimes stay there, which is really annoying and actually illegal in certain places. But when someone comes up behind you, it's really good about getting over to let them by.
Yeah.
So it's not just like this left lane hog that has no idea what's happening behind them. But it still is kind of annoying, I think.
I used hurry all the way back from Vegas.
Yep.
Rode the left lane,
Yep.
probably 700 of the 788 miles.
Yeah.
But like you said, it'll get over if somebody's coming up.
So here, I'm going to jump the offset to 25% just to see if we notice any difference. But it showed up there a 72 mile an hour max. And now when I change the offset, it's changed it.
Yep.
So maybe my map, I don't know. I don't understand the percentage thing. But clearly me just doing that just now completely changed its thought process on what it should be doing.
When you saw I had it at 40%, I've seen it around town actually do more than 40%.
Right. Oh, same
which
here.
is crazy.
Yeah, there was one time I think I clocked it doing 60% over the speed limit.
Yeah.
It was it wasn't really crazy speed, because it was like one of those roads where it's like everyone's going fast and the speed limit's like
it's a 30 and
low.
It's going 50.
Yeah. But it is kind of crazy. So here it's jumping to the left lane. We'll see if it gets back over after passing these cars. That's what I'll be curious about.
Well, my experience is in a 65, it'll go 85.
Yeah.
But it also is aware of how fast the traffic in the other lanes are going.
Yep.
So it won't go 85 if there's cars in the middle lane that aren't going at least 80.
Yep. But it's pretty easy. It makes road trips. I'm curious what you think of this, but road trips pretty easy.
Yeah.
Almost boring, I guess.
I when I drove to Vegas, I was in kind of a hurry, so 85 wasn't quick enough for me across much of Utah, so probably 300 miles of Utah.
Yep.
I was going faster than 85, we'll say.
Right, yeah.
And then otherwise I did FSD the whole way, and I got to Vegas and had a work event an hour after I got there. I was fresh and ready to go. After driving 12 and a half hours.
Yeah.
Normally you'd be exhausted after that.
Totally.
It just makes it so much easier to just sit there. You really do got to keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah.
It's a little too nanny-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very picky with the camera, and I've realized with with certain glasses it sometimes has more trouble than others, and for some reason with my fiance, it doesn't think she's looking straight ahead or something sometimes.
Yeah.
But it definitely depends on your eye shape. That maybe I know this is. I don't think this was necessarily meant to be more of the eye tracking camera, because it's a really poor angle for that. Rivian's eye tracking camera being right here is really good. Some other cars have them more where your eyes are. And so I also have a lot of issues being a hat enthusiast. A lot of times where it's like, oh, can't see your eyes because of your hat. It's like, oh, okay.
I've noticed at sunset, when you start to get to that pink moment.
Yep.
Won't work at all. I have to take my glasses off.
Oh, interesting.
Because something about the glare off of these, and it thinks I'm not looking at the road.
Weird.
For like a 20-minute period every night.
Yeah. Yeah, super. It's been fun to watch it improve though over the years. I thought it was super cool when it came out, but it was always like, early FSD days was like, oh my gosh, what's it gonna do? This is exciting because it's like a roller coaster, and you're gonna take over, but it's like, but it does something randomly really good, and you're like, wow, that was amazing. and then it like completely ruins an intersection. You're like, well, who knew? But now it's like almost boring to make these videos because you just sit here and I guess talk about the good old days.
I used to say with FSD 12 that the car was actively trying to kill you occasionally.
Yeah.
And now I say it just does silly things once in a while.
Yeah, there are totally edge cases, and so I'm definitely in that boat. You know, there's people that are like the total naysayers that are like, FSD is horrible, you should never trust it. And there's people that are like, FSD is ready, it should be unsupervised, like, what are we doing? And I don't think we're there yet. I've definitely had some interventions where it's like, that actually could have been really bad, or sometimes it's just other people are hard to gauge. And so I feel like I've done a lot of courtesy takeovers where it's like, okay, someone could just think I'm a total idiot if I don't do something right now.
Right. I would say on the highway, it's like 99% there.
Yeah.
The only issue I really had to Vegas and back was twice there were skid marks across the highway.
Yep.
And one time the car just was veering me off the middle, towards the middle of the road.
Yep.
And the other time it slammed on the brakes.
Yep.
Because the skid marks were literally almost straight across. I don't know how that happened. And then once I got past it, it just was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, highway, it's fantastic. Around town, definitely needs to be supervised.
Yeah.
And I have this spot right by my house where I turn left onto a one-lane road in each direction.
Right.
Speed limit is 45. People go 60 minimum.
Yeah.
And the car thinks people are going to be going 45, I think.
Oh.
And it pulls out in front of people all the time. So I refuse to let it use it on that intersection.
Right.
Because it is unsafe.
Right.
But other than that, man, I can't believe how much better it is than it was on my Hardware 3 car.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah. I'm hoping to do this sometime in a Hardware 3 car, because I think it'd be interesting to see how FSD is now with Hardware 3. We've done autopilot tests and earlier Hardware 3 stuff, but with the latest build, I think it'd be interesting. But Hardware 4 is really a big differentiator, having tried it now in both. And Hardware 3's come a long ways. It is still impressive, and hopefully Kyle does some videos with his Plaid or his Model 3, which both have Hardware 3.
Can I just say, normally on these videos, you guys are talking about, oh, the car did this to this point, and we haven't talked about the car doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And we are on what has got to be the worst mile of interstate in the country.
Yep.
And this guy's over the line.
Yep.
And it just did it absolutely perfect.
Right. I mean, we've been through a couple construction zones now, which is where the recent Lucid and Super Cruise tests both had issues. And that's just, I have my own beef with Motor Trend, I think, because they're out here saying Super Cruise is technology of the year and not FSD. And that blows my mind. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's political for sure.
Of course.
But
everything's political these days.
But even then, like, their recent 2026 Model Y review that they posted was like, the huge cons they talked about were political association and also ride comfort. And I was like, what? I'm
ride
so
comfort.
Confused. I test all cars, I know they do too, and this rides really well, better than quite a few other cars. Granted, though, they have the one with what's the bigger wheel size? 20?
Yeah,
you have
I've got the 19s.
Yeah, they were testing one with 20s. That does make a difference.
I haven't tried a 20 yet.
My first test drive, well, the only time I guess I've driven the new Model Y was on 20s, and it does make a difference. You feel a bit more of the undulations in the road, but yours, I mean, just new Model Y in general, they've really got it pretty dialed in. I mean, you don't have to worry about what was the booming sound before coming from the rear hatch.
Yeah, you felt like you were inside a drum.
Yeah.
Because that glass was so heavy, and when you'd go over bumps, it would move just a little bit and it'd cause air pressure.
Yep.
And some people wouldn't notice it.
Yep.
Like my wife and my daughter never noticed it.
Yep.
But it drove me nuts.
Yeah.
I was constantly adjusting the little offsets on it to keep it from doing that. Well, and I went from an Ioniq 5, which has an amazing ride. It's so smooth.
Yeah, love those.
And fantastic seat, quiet.
Yep.
And then I went to the 2023 Model Y.
Yep.
And I was so disappointed in the ride and the noise and the wind noise. And frankly, the driver's seat was really uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
And so when I test drove this, I was just like, holy cow, Tesla fixed everything.
It kind of feels like a different car in some ways.
Yeah. It's amazing difference
Yep.
from a car that you could have bought 3 months ago to what you can buy today.
Right. So now we've come back. Now
We're at the halfway
rerouting.
point.
Nothing has a steering wheel. Just let it do its thing. Take us back. We've had no interventions, no nothing. I mean, to your point, Ioniq 5 rides amazing, and I actually do. I like HDA partially because I think it's pretty predictable. But it's also it's because I totally know its weaknesses, and I know when I should trust it and when I shouldn't. And this road is like one of those cases where I don't trust it. Bombing through Kansas, HDA is amazing. But on roads with curves where it will just give up and not even tell you it's giving up,
there's two of those turns from there to here that HDA will be like, yeah, sorry, it's too sharp and I'm giving up. And it doesn't give you any warning. It just gives up in the middle of the turn and then goes straight.
Yeah. Well, even the driver unresponsive situation we always do. That's also, it just lets go steering.
Yeah.
It's like, that's terrifying.
It seems like all the manufacturers need to do a better job. Maybe not all. It seems like VW and BMW do it really well.
Yeah, BMW and Porsche, I think, were recent ones that called emergency services and they did all the possible things. And that's something, like I mentioned earlier, to debate in the comments or wherever is whether it is, we're at this point where this car totally could, if I became unresponsive, this car could totally find a safe place to pull over.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Some people have argued that it's actually safer to very gradually come into a stop in the lane, because then if you're truly having a medical emergency,
you don't want to be in the middle of nowhere.
If the car stops in the middle of a lane, someone will probably have a higher chance of coming to check on you, versus if you're off to the shoulder, people will fly by you all day not thinking anything. They're thinking, you're just pulled over to look up directions or something.
Yeah, if it's not going to call emergency services, I kind of get that. But also, stopping in the middle of the interstate is a great way to get a bunch of people killed.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know the actual correct thing to say there.
So this is interesting. That car in front of us just went way over the line.
Yeah.
And that's a human.
Yeah.
And this car did it perfect.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad we're doing, the last test I did on FSD was pretty much all standard mode, I think. Doing this one pretty much all in hurry mode is actually putting it to its limit, because a lot of times the curves at speed are the limits of a lot of these cars. Like, we've had cars give up on steering because they can't physically put enough steering input in based on the speed. A lot of these curves are not actually they're not hairpins, but because we're going speed is why it's actually causing an issue for some vehicles. They have a limit of torque that they can put on the wheel, and we'll probably see that with if we do some more common AI testing, which I'm hoping to do. That's definitely a per car basis on which wheels can do more torque and whatnot. But yeah, not much to I don't know.
It's kind of boring, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I love driving, and I actually drive Uber one night a week, just partially because I love driving. I love talking about EVs, so it's it's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But I find myself using FSD all the time now.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just sit back and relax and listen to a podcast. You can actually focus on it.
Yep.
It's weird. I can't believe I've shifted. I've only had the car like 6 weeks.
Yep.
How much I've shifted.
Yeah, I was, when I got my Model 3, it was right as version 13 was coming out. And that was what everyone can agree is the big shift over to feeling competent. And I was going to plan on using FSD all the time out of curiosity and almost entertainment. And then it got so good, and I was like, oh, now I just want FSD because it's actually functionally great. I can be lost in my thoughts a bit more often and be on phone calls. I don't feel like I am being the one distracted necessarily. And I think we really aren't that far from unsupervised. Maybe they'll do a geo-fenced rollout of it.
Right.
Is my thoughts, because yeah, we've definitely had, I've had some issues, edge cases perhaps, of, like you said, the skid marks on the highway. I had tar snakes on a 2-lane road in western Colorado, and the car veered into the oncoming traffic lane.
Oh, yeah.
No cars were there, but it did that
because it thought the lane changed.
Lane changed, or it thought there was debris in the road, and it was like avoiding the debris. And it's also done a few where I've done like a left turn from one country road to another, a left turn. It's done this, like, it just went into the oncoming traffic lane and just drove there. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, what in the world? No cars are around. I don't think it would have even tried that if it saw a car. Like, it's not totally naive, but it's also like, those are interventions, and that's why, Motor Trend had a recent article on why they'll quit using FSD, and it's because of the tar snake situation, where it jumped them into the opposite lane, and that developed a huge trust issue. So I understand Tesla being very cautious about putting out unsupervised, because there's a lot of liability there when you're taking, basically liability away from the driver.
Yeah. My biggest issue is it is so flaky about what lane to be in. Like right now, it should not be in the left lane, but on the highway, I think it does a pretty good job. But around town, it will be in the wrong lane all the time. Or like, I know there's this spot where I go to lunch frequently. It gets in the right lane right as that lane is ending every time. Yep. And it does that frequently. Or if you're on the highway, if it needs to get over one lane, it does half a mile before. Yep. If it's 2 lanes, it'll do a mile. 3, it does a mile and a half. That is not always enough time. Yep. And it doesn't, if there's not a lot of traffic, half mile's plenty. Yep. But it should realize, I'm in bumper to bumper traffic, and I need to give it more time because I'm not going to make it there. Right. And that's not so much a safety issue as, I might miss my turn because it did something stupid. Yeah, I've noticed it doing a lot of last minute maneuvers for turns, for exits on highways. Like, it still did it fine, but I was like, it was more last minute than I would have been comfortable with as my own driver. And I wish there was more parameters you could program. I almost wish there was a BuzzFeed quiz you take before you do FSD for it to learn a bit more of like what your preferences are. I think it should have you drive for a while and learn from your driving style. Totally. And try and mimic it. Yeah, because even back there, first of all, quick commentary. If you have a Model 3 and Model Y household, I think you'd get confused quickly on turn signal use. Yeah. Because I just went for the brights to go right, and I was actually like, I forgot they added a stock back in this car. Yeah. So back there, I was like, hey, get out of the left lane, go to the center lane. And then it did it. It's going to do it now. But then it got back over and just kept left lane hogging. One thing, if you hold down the turn signal, sometimes you'll turn the turn signal on and the car will be like, I don't want to get over for whatever reason. If you hold it down, it will go. Oh, really? Okay. Yes. Interesting. As soon as it's safe, it will go. Interesting. Yeah, because I have seen FSD do that a few times where I was like, I want to go different lane. It's like, no. Yeah. The one thing I wish I could figure out is when it's changing lanes, how to stop it. But once it's decided, it's going. There doesn't seem to be any way to stop it. It's going, and it is still a bit aggressive when you're trying to take back control. Yeah. Like that handoff situation I'm really intrigued by how that's programmed. And even with the recent Rivian update of, allowing, it's allowing you to put more torque in to like nudge yourself over, but not break it out of the system. Yeah. And I'm trying to, I don't know what the best programming or calibration is for that, but I think Tesla's still on the like aggressive side. Because if you're like in a turn and you decide to take over, it's like a jerk. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, back to what we were talking about. My wife will never watch this, so I can say this. I think FSD is a safer driver around town than she is. And I would love to get her in a Tesla if she would use it. Because I think it would be better.
Right. Well, that's the commentary I've gotten a lot from people who have experienced it, is a lot of people's first thoughts are, oh, I want my grandpa or parents or someone to have this,
right,
who may be about to give up driving, or maybe even already has, whether it's a eyesight thing or just, you know, doesn't have the fine motor control for a car. But FSD is so good that they can do minimal anything. I mean, my car's about to have 14,000 miles, and I feel like I've driven 100 miles.
Yeah.
I've done FSD its entire life, partially just to see how, you know, stress test it. And it is wild to see how minimal of a percentage I've had to interfere.
Yeah, well, it's kind of your job.
Right.
But it's not my job, but I still use it at least 80% of the time.
But you're right. There's many people that I know that I'm like, you know, this could be a better driver than you perhaps. And a lot of people, I mean, you're seeing people all over the place. You're driving around Denver and you look over and you see someone just like plastered on their phone.
Yeah.
And they're in like a 05 Dodge Ram. It's like, I know that car doesn't even have lane centering or lane departure assistance. Right. Like, it's one thing if it's a car that is full of safety suites that'll help them. It's still not a crutch you should typically lean on. HDA is a good example where it will break out of its lane centering and not tell you. And if someone is trying to text and drive, which you shouldn't do in the first place, but especially on a car like that, it's kind of terrifying.
You know, I heard one of the Tesla executives, and I wish I could remember who it was, saying that they intend to take a lot of the logic that's in the Robo taxis and port that back to the main line for all of the regular cars. Obviously removing some of the logic about that Robo taxis need.
Right. It was going to take the more direct route for a second there, and I was like,
I was wondering why it got all the way over.
I know. I was like, oh, it's not in the hot left lane anymore. Oh, it's just navigating. I forget. We're taking technically the less direct route by staying on the highway.
Yeah.
But, you know, if it's taking the test, better keep it.
But I would imagine that they are learning so much from the robo-taxi, not having a human there to take over.
Yeah.
I would imagine that once they port that back to the main code, that it's going to be amazing.
Which, so the version that robo-taxis are using is essentially what seems to be, people are almost calling it the next version 13. And so we should see that rolling its way back into our cars, I guess. Oh, here we got a Rivian doing a thumbs down.
Thumbs down! I gave him a thumbs up.
It's a launch edition, too. Can't believe that. We have an Audi R8 behind us. Maybe he's doing a thumbs down because he doesn't like Audi R8. So
I don't think so. He smiled and laughed, so whatever.
That's really interesting. I've never actually gotten a thumbs down in non-Cybertrucking. I've got many thumbs down.
I've been road raged a couple times.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it was just because it's a Tesla. And it was at the height of Doge stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Some guy one night came across 3 lanes, got behind me, was literally like 5 feet off my bumper for 8 miles on I-25.
Yep.
And so I didn't even have an opportunity to do anything to him.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we're just about done with the test. I mean, what things did I write down for?
Editor's input. Speed up on turn signal overtake, 1. End to end, 1.
Yep.
Speed offsets being questionable, -1.
Yep.
Really impressive human driving, 1.
Yeah, I think all those remain. Do you have any other thoughts or feelings? We should put -1 on lane use, I think. You know, with hurry mode, just left lane camping. I don't know what we should call that.
I don't know why it won't let me type.
Oh, it's offline.
Oh, yeah, it's
okay. I'll add that later. But we'll basically deduct 1 more point. So the total at the very bottom, -1, I guess, would be our...
It's 34. If you took 1 off, it would be 33.
33. Okay.
You didn't experience it on this ride, but the overly nanny eye tracking is, especially on a road trip where you just have to stare ahead.
Yeah.
And I even experimented. If you don't move your head, it'll think you've fallen asleep, even if your eyes are open. So you literally you got to move your head a little. It's just a little too nanny.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think I would do another -1 for that, because I agree. And while I didn't really experience that on this drive, it's because I was so intently looking ahead. But just in general, the nannies don't match the level of system. Like, it's crazy that I can be on an HDA car and just be like, you can be looking in the back seat as long as your hand's on the wheel. Yeah, if you just keep touching the wheel, because it's a capacitive wheel, it'll just keep going, which is terrifying. And even Elon has admitted, like, the nannies are a bit aggressive, and they have eased up a bit since they first went hands-free, but still is fairly aggressive for what the system can do. And I almost think we need more of a dynamic nanny situation where the car recognizes how complex the environment is. You know, going through Kansas, it should be really relaxed, whereas maybe rush hour traffic on I-25, it should be like, hey man, pay attention.
I do like if you're on stop and go and I think it's below 30, you don't have to pay attention. I love that. Yeah. So yeah, honestly, it's great. We didn't really expect it not to be. Pretty much the same experience as the last test. It's good to compare the 3 and the Y, though, I think.
Yeah, so that's kind of the consensus, is 3 and Y felt identical, in my opinion. The biggest difference was the turn signal being a stock versus the button on a wheel, which, I mean, we're about to trade cars, so you'll experience mine having both.
Oh, look, you had you could have, it would have parked you.
Oh. Let's see what it does. Yeah, here's the little hesitancy
it gets
in the parking
confused.
lot. It's going to the next pin.
Which is great. It's just in the same parking lot.
I'm going to continue trip. I'm going to put another pin here. There we go. And then I'm going to edit trip, remove this pin. See how fast that was, too? People are out here trying to tell me that, oh, I removed the wrong pin. That's still kind of annoying. Let's see, it just keeps going around. But yeah, people are like, oh, you know, Hyundai's... Let's go. I want to see if it'll park itself. But people are saying Hyundai's software is like just as good. It's like, if you try to do any sort of route planning in Hyundai's software, it's atrocious. Trying to like really quickly flip stops around and stuff.
Yeah, I thought HDA2 was really good on the highway. And I had a 2002, an early Ioniq 5. So I would hope it's better now, but
yeah. Is it reversed?
It acts like it's reversing, but it didn't show us parking spaces.
Yeah.
Because the one time I got it to work, it showed parking spaces, and I picked the one I wanted.
Right.
I think it just literally parked on your
yeah, now it's sitting in
your
drive. Once you
there you go.
Well, that's the thing. Those don't show up while you're in drive for some reason. But now it's doing auto park, which again is a really solid system. I tried auto park in the Blazer. That was practically useless.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, easy test. Sorry for the boring video, folks, but hopefully you enjoyed the commentary. Plenty of things to say. Regardless.
Well, after all that, it got us centered in the spot.
Yeah. It ended with the steering wheel off center though, which is kind of funny. Fix that. But yeah, you'll have to play with my car is the sexy stocks. So it does have drive, stock, and turn signal, but also, the knob down here, which you can play with, which I really love. But yeah, well, thanks for lending the car, Mark.
Yeah, of course.
Good test, easy. Let us know what you think, guys, if we missed anything, but I think it was pretty, interesting conversation, and FSD's going places.
Yeah. The future's bright, for sure.